to our webinar, Community Colleges as Living Labs of Sustainability. And we're going to look in some depth at St. Clair County Community College's experience in the ACUPCC and SEED networks. We're delighted that you could be with us. And this is webinar was presented by the American College and University President's Climate Commitment. My name is Mitch Tomashow. I'm the director of the Presidential Fellows Program at Second Nature. I was formerly the president of Unity College in Unity, Maine from 2006 to 2011. I'll be your host and facilitator for today's webinar. Joining us will be Todd Cohen. Todd launched and heads the American Association of Community Colleges SEED Center. This initiative is now a multi-million-dollar initiative with 470 community college signatories. Todd has 15 years experience leading high-profile national higher education and workforce development programs with senior positions at the Institute for a Competitive Workforce and Booz Allen Hamilton. We're also delighted to have Dr. Kevin A. Pollak with us. Kevin is the president of St. Clair Community College, where he's been in that position since April of 2009. In that time, he's been an advocate and leader for a range of important issues, including early middle college, global awareness, international education, STEM and student service initiatives. He's nationally recognized as a public speaker, and his expertise includes at-risk students, continuous quality improvement, mentoring, retention, strategic planning, student success, and of course, sustainability. Tom Donovan is the director of the physical plant at St. Clair County Community College. He manages the maintenance and operation of the college campus facilities. He has extensive experience in facility management, leadership, and in analyzing and solving the most complex of problems. A little bit before we get launched about community colleges and the very important and vital role they play in moving campus sustainability initiatives forward. In terms of the ACUPCC, they represent 20% of the 673 institutions, and to date 60% of these signatories have submitted their climate action plans. A climate action plan, of course, is a comprehensive approach to energy planning to reduce carbon emissions over a period of time that's determined by the college. It is the single best measure we have that a campus is moving towards sustainability. As of June 1st, 2013, there are 65 community colleges. Signatories produced 6.7 kilowatts of renewable energy through wind, solar, geothermal, and biomass annually. You know, a good way to check this out is just to put community college renewable energy in your web browser and click on images, and you'll see images of some of the really extraordinary things that have been happening around the country. 51 community college signatories reported a total of 54 completed green building projects on their campuses, 50 of which are USGBC LEED certified. 49 community college signatories reported a total of 696 completed energy efficiency projects on their campuses, and 40 community college signatories reported energy and operations cost savings as a result of implementing their climate action plans, with a total combined savings ranging from 5.2 to 32.2 million. But I think those numbers are there just to give you the evidence of what's happened. But conceptually, the thing to keep in mind is that community colleges are at the forefront. And what's specifically important about that is it is the quickest way to get graduates into the green workforce, and that's what the community colleges are doing. Next slide, please. The American College and University President's Climate Commitment offers a unique opportunity for higher education to lead by example, using the campus as a learning lab, taking actions to incorporate climate and sustainability issues into the curriculum. The PCC institutions are delivering the education needed to equip graduates with the knowledge, values, and skills to enable the rest of society to follow suit. It's extraordinary when you think that the ACUPCC was founded by Dr. Anthony Cortese in 2006, and in the short stretch of 5 years, there have been 670 signatories, which is really amazing, and it reflects the terrific growth and the leadership of colleges and universities. The most important idea to take away from the ACUPCC is that it maximizes the effectiveness, the importance, and the magnitude of presidential leadership, and that's why it's so important that Dr. Pollak is here with us today. The ACUPCC creates all kinds of important opportunities for teaching, learning, and knowledge creation, a community-wide framework and strategic perspective. It enhances what we'd like to describe as the power of the collective. It's okay for us to do this on our own, but when we all do it together, it sends a terrific message about what's possible. It promotes transparency and real meaningful action because the climate action planning process is peer-reviewed in a rigorous way. It leverages an institution's individual efforts for maximum impact. There are many examples of institutions who have improved their fundraising efforts specifically because of their climate action plan. It also improves the competitive position of the institution. We know we have good evidence that suggests that that sustainability in general improves retention and recruitment, and the PCC is flexible and well designed. Every campus has a specific and unique climate action plan that reflects its own strengths and challenges and its regional variables in terms of energy. Next slide, please. The next slide tells us about SEED, and I'd like to bring Todd Cohen here to give us an update and an introduction.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. I was on mute. I apologize. So thanks for having me. Again, Todd Cohen with the American Association of Community Colleges SEED Center. I'm going to talk just for a couple minutes about what we're up to and a new report we have on the Living Lab that I think is going to be quite useful for community colleges going forward. For those who don't know, the SEED Center was formed about 2 years ago, and it's really about mobilizing more two-year colleges in the sustainability movement, in particular around greening curriculum, both in academic and career technical curriculum, and then also helping to strengthen community colleges' positioning in their own communities and own regions and actually building the green economy. So we want more colleges to help grow green jobs or clean economy jobs and then be there on the back end to do the education and training for those opportunities. So in that sense, I think we're a real complement to the President's climate commitment. Next slide, please. We've got 470 colleges that from across the country that have made a commitment to the SEED initiative, and in addition to committing to addressing climate change issues, the CEOs at these colleges have made a big commitment in sharing. And that's really what SEED is all about. It's a vehicle to share curriculum, to share best practices and sustainability practices, things like that. And that goes on through SEED networking events, mentoring, online web opportunities and things like that. So if you're not part of SEED, we urge you to be a part of this great and growing network. Next slide, please. So in particular, the few areas that we're focused on now are areas I think are some stumbling blocks for community colleges in advancing sustainability. So around leadership buy-in is one of those areas, and not just getting your college president or your trustees or senior administrators to buy into sustainability, but to believe sustainability as being a guiding principle in everything that the institution does. I think we've got a lot of work to be done there. And as the American Association of Community Colleges, we have a direct line to 1,200 college presidents across the country. So we can message sustainability in a way that these senior leaders will understand it and embrace it as part of their own agenda. Education and training resources, curriculum, best practices on clean economy, career pathways, industry engagement, things like that. And then institutional change, really, again, trying to connect institutional sustainability goals with, in particular, the workforce development and job training efforts on college campuses. Next slide, please. So we've got a new report that came out about 2 weeks ago. We're excited about it. It's Campus as a Living Lab, and it's a hot topic for community colleges. I suspect you know what it is. Really, what we're talking about is this colleges redesign and retrofit campuses in greener ways. It's really trying to use these projects, such as energy efficiency, heating and cooling systems, renewable energy installations, gardening, things like that. Use those projects as hands-on learning opportunities for students. And so it's really about merging academics and campus facilities management to provide students with those real-world skills and for the institution a path to meet its sustainability goals. And so, you know, our hypothesis is that a lot of colleges are interested in the topic, but there's really a lot of support and technical assistance and education that needs to happen to make this work. Next slide, please. So I urge you to go and download this. It's at theseedcenter.org. It's a great report. We did a lot of research and interviewing for this, and we came up with eight elements to building a campus living lab. I won't go through all of them, but it's really things like engaging the right campus participants. So moving beyond just, you know, a living lab exercise within a particular class. It's how do you bring together academia with the facilities team to make this a campus-wide type initiative? How do you build partnerships with industry as you build a living lab, expanding beyond the individual programs of study? I think you'll find one story in there where a college in Georgia brought together accounting students, HVAC students, engineering students, and clean tech students, and together they did HVAC system inventories of a building on campus. They did a level 3 energy audit. They developed proposals for solar thermal heating, and the accounting students did the overall project management of this. And then they all together, all students, all faculty within those different disciplines, came together and presented to the facilities team, and they adopted this. And that building is now undergoing some significant greening, as you would. So those are the kinds of projects we'd like to see happen on more campuses. One of the stories, one of the colleges that we highlight quite significantly in this report is St. Clair County Community College in Michigan, and we brought them here to this webinar to tell their story because it's a great one. And I turn it over now to Dr. Pollak and Tom Donovan.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Kevin Pollak. I'm the president of St. Clair County Community College. I'm very pleased to be with all of you today. We are doing a tremendous amount of things on our campus, and we're excited about that, and we're thrilled with the opportunity to share all these things with you. I want to give you a little demographics about us because it's important, I think, for everyone to understand maybe, you know, why would a community college really want to get involved in these things. We're in Michigan, and we're on the eastern side of Michigan, and as Michigan, as you know, is the Great Lakes. We are actually right on the edge of the Great Lakes. We have a river in our backyard, as you can see in the photo right there with the sailing vessels on it, that actually runs right into the Great Lakes. That's the Black River, which runs into the St. Clair River, which runs right between us and Canada. We are on the border with Canada, and we are the connecting lake and river between Lake Huron down through the Detroit River into Lake Erie. So one of the reasons for us that is really important is we are basically in an area that it's important for us to have clean water, to look environmentally sound, and to take an active role. So for us, it wasn't really difficult. A little more about us for demographics. We are in our 90th anniversary this year. We actually are 90 years old, founded as a junior college. So when we look at green initiatives for us, 90 years old, that means a lot because one of our buildings is 105 years old. So how do you retrofit a 105-year-old building and try to make something green out of it? How do you look at a campus that also has a 95-year-old building, and then a building on another part of the campus that's only about 10 years old? So we have multiple ages of our facilities. We also have about 26 acres altogether of green property. So we want to look at all of those pieces combined. So our challenge is probably going to be almost fitting for almost any other community college. New buildings, old buildings, what are you going to do? parking structures. How do you do all this together? Also, for us, our mission really, and our vision and ends all tie together to the idea of green initiatives. Our mission is really simple. Our mission is to maximize student success. It's very simple. It's very clean. But with that, we also want to have students that are well-rounded thinkers. So we do a lot of green initiatives, and you'll hear about those in a few minutes. Our vision is really to create an academic and cultural environment that's going to empower our students to succeed. And to that end, we have 5 ends, 5 major goals that we have. And I won't go through all those, but the final one is to have a comprehensive facility plan that is safe, clean, aesthetically attractive, proactively maintained, and appropriate for delivery and support. And in our case, we also should be adding the words green in there. We want it to be sustainable. We want it to be something that we're proud of. And with that, we became a member of ACUPCC. It was actually before I joined the college. In 2008, we've been committed since then to reducing GHG emissions and integrating sustainability right into our classroom. We have gone so far as to add programs in alternative energy and mechatronics, for example. So we really believe in this, and we also try to do this. Now, why do we do some of the things we do? Well, really, part of that is because we joined ACUPCC because of the collective. It also made the collective experience of all those different institutions, and what could we offer, but what could we glean from all those pieces as well? And that's a lot of the information that you're receiving. The other part is it also made our commitment, as much as we talked about it, in a sense under quotation marks, official. It's hard to argue when we say we're signing on the dotted line and we're going to make this an important part of what we do every day. We're very proud of all the things that we do. Next slide. One of our challenges is really to get a campus buy-in and the collaboration of everybody on the campus to work towards the types of things that you're going to hear Tom Donovan talk about in just a few minutes. I just want to talk about the fact of from the president's role, what is it we had to do out of our office, as well as trying to get other people on the campus. The first thing is to get the buy-in of our Board of Trustees. Our Board of Trustees is an elected board of 7 people from the local community. You got to explain to those people why green initiatives and sustainability is important. And you can tell them it's important for educational purposes, but why is it also important for the community? And why is it also important that we take a leading role? And why should we be doing these types of things? With that, we really worked well with the board. We did a lot of presentations, and Tom Donovan did a lot of those. We created a green team, which came up with ideas, and he's going to, again, explain things. But we did some really cool stuff around our campus, everything from student-based recyclable bins to creating a campus atmosphere of inclusion to the point that we were always looking for green alternatives. You know, it's kind of funny, you try to convince your chief academic officer and also the head of finance to work hand in hand to come up with green ideas that might cost more money, and then present it to a board of trustees and get them to vote on it. And you were like thinking, how's that going to work? It does. And Tom's going to talk about some of the programs, and we have spent more money on some of these programs because we believe in them. In the long run, we will probably recoup our money, and we will probably come out even ahead in some. But to put that type of effort and finance into it's really difficult. Our physical plant is fantastic. Our maintenance guys and our workers here are top-notch, and they all are committed to green initiatives as well. It's kind of become a challenge amongst everybody. The faculty commitment, you know, it's great because we had a lot of faculty leaders that really were into alternative energy and green initiatives that took lead roles, and we got everybody else involved. We got our bio department and our chem department, and other faculty members really started taking leads on these things and calling for more, which really led to the creation of our green team, which really is all there to put together the ideas and concepts and help us try to put it into a package so that we're all connected. And we have members of our clerical staff on it, maintenance guys on there, and I go visit the team every now and then, and we just have great talks and ideas. Next commitment. Next slide, please. Partnerships in our area also were really critical for us. Corporate partnerships, it's important because sometimes donations would come in, and we would ask for green commitment for donations. Also, the corporate part was really important for us when we started creating mechatronics programs, alternative energy programs. because we wanted to make sure that if we were going to create programs and put the dollars into those, that our students were going to have job opportunities in those types of fields, that they were wanted, and we had to work with our corporate partners. So it was a great way for us to reach out to our corporate partners and ask them about our academics. The community was interesting. One of the projects, and you'll see some of it in a little bit, was we actually redid our parking lot, half of it, and we put a geothermal field under our parking lot, which helps us run heating and cooling into one of our facility buildings. From that, though, we also added bioswales, and in the bioswales, we planted everything you could possibly think of into a bioswale. And it came up the first year, I would say, pretty ugly. It was not in the most attractive looking things you ever saw. They were very effective, and you're going to hear how effective in a little bit. But we ended up having to cull some of that out of there because we got a lot of calls about, why are you letting weeds grow in your parking lot? And, well, it's filtering water, and you have to understand. So we had to do a lot of community work. I wrote a column for the paper. We did some open sessions with community leaders, and now nobody even notices it or even mentions it. But it's important, though, that the community has buy-in to those things as well. Ellucian used to be SunGard, and now it's called Ellucian. Actually, they are our IT department on our campus. They're right here. They have worked with us hand in hand, and you're going to hear about some of the things that they've done with Siemens and others that help us save money, but also in the area of taking, for example, small 10 pieces of computer equipment, breaking them down into one piece and saving us space as well as energy. So even our IT guys get into the thing. And then finally, we had outside groups, and one example is Friends of the River. And again, the Black River and the river that runs right through here, we're called the Blue Water Area because the water is amazingly beautiful, but it has to stay blue through our efforts to keep it clean. And part of that commitment also came from our government. We had our local congresswoman, Candace Miller, help secure a $100,000 grant for us to look at clean water initiatives. So it was a lot of people working together. Next slide, please. We had a lot of successes, and you see some pictures of some of the things that we have here. The bottom picture on the left is Representative Candace Miller from our district, came in from Washington. We had her drive our green, we have actually a green electric vehicle for our patrol people, and she drove it around the campus. And you'll see on those slides the green retaining wall and some of the sun pieces that we have, the retaining walls, the bioswales, the geothermal field, which is under the parking lot. All these pieces together are part of what we have. And with all that combined, we really created our campus into a living lab. The living lab concept was really created by the person I'm going to introduce to you in a second. It was one of the first ones in the country, and he started it 10 years ago, and with the concept of how can we use these things we're doing to teach our students, and it just spread from there. So I will answer any questions as we go along later on, and I'm also going to offer out the fact that you see on our slides the address and phone number, and I'm more than willing to talk to other presidents as you go through this process because some of them may have questions. So I'd like to introduce you to Tom Donovan, who's the head of everything that's really cool that you've heard about on our campus.
Thank you, Dr. Pollak. I'd like to begin with the history of the Living Lab as it evolved on our campus beginning in 2003. The concept for the Living Lab came about when I requested a meeting with our professor of robotics and electronics, our Siemens building automation team, and the associate dean of academics. We came together to discuss the possibility of starting an HVAC and building automation program using Siemens expertise and their product lines. We recognized that these programs could train students to fill high-paying and in-demand jobs. By combining traditional technical courses with new and emerging technologies, we would be giving our students a distinct advantage in the job market. At this early stage, I referred to the concept as the living building and laboratory, and it has since evolved into the Living Lab. Our team was very enthusiastic with the prospect of developing curriculum that would be unique among community colleges in our area. We met several times to discuss the concept, and then I was given the task to try and identify potential lab space. I soon realized I had nothing available that I could easily convert for a reasonable cost, and that's when it occurred to me, I already have existing HVAC and automation control in every building. Why should I build a lab when we already have what we need? Why spend money when we don't have to? The Living Lab concept fits right into the notion of sustainability. And with the continued support from Dr. Pollak and our board, we are continuing to build on the Living Lab experience and the success of our students. Next slide, please. I'm going to begin with our guiding principles and then touch on our green projects and the benefits of each. When exploring the Living Lab concept, we employ guiding principles. The principles serve as a test of proposed facility projects to maximize resources and give assurance of appropriate solutions. Projects need to be sustainable in the very broadest sense. We are not just evaluating sustainability as calculating energy savings for a payback, but in sustainable as in meeting education program requirements. Sustainability becomes an inclusive measurement for how best to utilize the entire campus as a learning opportunity, while dual-purpose projects increase the value of each one of our expenditures. One solution is to maximize resources by repairing physical plant to serve as a catalyst for transforming programs. Our Living Labs concept meets both plant and educational challenges. Combining the issues has led to a comprehensive solution for us. Our green roof systems. I'd like to just talk a little bit about some of the projects that we've done. Daily and yearly temperature cycles place a great deal of stress on a waterproofing system that can lead to roof leaks and a need for eventual replacement. By installing a green roof, these temperature fluctuations are minimized, thereby extending the time before leaks occur and replacement is necessary. Estimated time of increased roof membrane lifespan are over 100% compared to a non-green roof. Green roof systems act as a barrier to thermal transfer of the sun's energy through the roof, and that helps us to reduce cooling loads and save energy. Plants also recirculate water from the root zone, cooling the air above the roof, and absorb or deflect incoming solar radiation. These features combine to reduce our carbon footprint and provide a unique biological environment that is available to our students and enhances the classroom experience for them. Green roofs are also very important instruments in stormwater retention. Depending on the green roof system and the depth of the growing medium, the immediate water runoff can be reduced by 50 to 90%, with most of this water returning directly into the natural water cycle by transpiration or evaporation of the green roof. The excess water is filtered and drained off with a temporal delay, and this leads to a reduced stress on the stormwater system during the year and at peak flow periods. We also capture water samples from our green roofs for lab analysis by our chemistry students. The live wall that you see on the slide the college needed to replace a failing brick retaining wall, and we asked the question, is there a green option for us? We chose to install a live wall with plant material that again reduces water runoff, filters pollutants, and actually adds natural vegetation to the campus. This is a prime example of our reviewing deferred maintenance items for a possible green solution. Next slide, please. The picture you see at the top is our geothermal field in construction. And this is underneath the parking lot, and then the picture directly below that is the finished parking lot with bioswales. And I'd like to talk about the geothermal. Our students and faculty are learning firsthand about sustainable technologies and building via a geothermal installation in bioswales. The geothermal system provides heating and cooling for the college's north building. The building is comprised of a 30,000 square foot two-story classroom and a 24,000 adjacent upper level gymnasium and lower level locker room. With the geothermal system, the college saves approximately $52,000 per year for the North Building's HVAC. This cost savings is really based on the system reaching a 30% reduction in energy use over the pre-existing and inefficient chiller and boiler system. The bioswales are a natural vegetation, and the rain gardens, they help to soak up contaminants such as salt and automobile fluids. These pollutants are washed from the pavement during rainfall. For every half inch of rain, our bioswales divert nearly 43,000 gallons of water away from storm drains and into environmentally safe natural vegetation. And as Dr. Pollak commented, recycling is an important component of the President's climate commitment. We've installed student-built recycling bins in each building across campus. Our green tour sign, we received a grant that allowed us to install a green tour sign that highlights locations of green solutions on our campus. This sign has QR codes that can be scanned on mobile devices, and this takes you to our website where you can learn more about the projects. We also control our lighting and HVAC scheduling using the Siemens Apogee building automation system. We use Apogee to schedule occupied and vacant room temperature set points while monitoring room occupancy. This in order to turn off the HVAC. CO2 sensors monitor ventilation requirements based on the number of room occupants, and this saves us energy dollars. Next slide, please. The advantage of solar and wind energy is that they provide a clean and renewable source of energy. This is a driving force behind all green energy technology as we attempt to meet climate change obligations in curbing our emissions. This technology also helps to power our alternative energy lab in the Atchison Technology Center. And that's the building you see on the top of the slide. Charges our electric car, and we offset electricity used by parking lot LED bench lighting as well. Our solar hot water system provides domestic hot water to a 70,000 square foot building. This reduces our natural gas consumption and our carbon footprint. Students work with the system and use the solar equipment as part of their lab experiments. Our students also monitor the system, which is located in the building's mechanical room, and they have the ability to access the roof equipment, which provides that real-world experience for them. With these and other efforts, the college is creating and enhancing living labs throughout the campus, and with support from our Board of Trustees and Dr. Pollak, we are allowing campus facilities to be used as real-world teaching tools. This forward-thinking use of our facilities means that we keep our options open, and our students are able to experience new technologies firsthand, along with traditional classroom training. Thank you.
Hi, all. Thanks, guys. I just wanted to give a plug to, we've got a workshop that's coming up in about 6 weeks that's going to be at the St. Clair County Community College campus. And we're going to go through, do a campus tour, but then we'll have some other national experts there talking through some of these elements about building a campus as a living lab. I've just learned, actually, that there are literally 2 slots left. So for those who are interested, you've got to email sustainability@aacc.nche.edu, and we'll see if we can make it work. Thanks.
And we certainly hope that you, those of you who are not members of the ACUPCC, consider joining it for all the reasons listed there. We're happy to chat with you if you have any questions. We're about to move into our question and answer period. And I just want to say a few things in summary and to get us launched. First, the whole purpose of the webinar.
Mitch, we cannot hear you. Are you?
Oh, can you hear me now?
You're back, yes.
I am? Did you hear anything I just said?
No.
Okay. Well, let me start over again. Are you hearing me now okay? Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay.
Hear you.
We're all set then. All right. To repeat myself, first, I won't, but you never heard it, so it's not repetition for those of you listening. First, we'd like to invite you to join the ACUPCC. If you're not already, if your institution is not a signatory, there are many good reasons to get involved with us. You can see them here on the list. You can go to our website and check it out. The website's listed on the slide. Our staff are anxious and happy to chat with you about some of the advantages. If you have questions or concerns, we can work you through them. The organization is very supportive. It has terrific staff. and the advantages are multiple. A few comments before we get into the questions and answers. The whole point of a webinar like this is to provide you with support, suggestions, and inspiration. It's not only about how St. Clair Community College St. Clair County Community College is getting it done. It's important to hear that, but it's about how you can get it done, and we are here to help with that. The networks matter enormously, so please ask us the best questions you can, and let them fly. Anything?
Mitch, we just chatted you a question from the attendees.
Oh, I see. Okay. The question is this. We are already addressing climate change on our campus. What would be the benefit to join the ACUPCC now? And perhaps, Kevin, you'd like to handle that one.
I think that in our case, even though you're handling it, it depends on what varying degree you are handling it. In our case, it pushed us to another level. And like I mentioned earlier, it was the official piece of it. That and the connection to so many other resources. So, you know, if you're doing it on your own and you've made a commitment, but you want to take it to another level, or you want to have resources that you can go back to. In our case, we're very data-oriented, and one of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that we can compare ourselves to others. It's hard if you're in a vacuum, no pun intended, to be able to compare yourselves. Now, how are you doing? So I think it really depends on what you want to do and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. Thanks for that, Kevin, because we get asked this quite often, and the important thing is this. There are a lot of institutions that claim they're moving forward on sustainability, but at some point there needs to be some kind of peer-reviewed process that proves that's the case. And the ACUPCC provides that, as does the AC STARS program too, by the way. That's why we have the USGBC LEAD program, because we need to have some way of saying that this is happening. The second is that when you join the ACUPCC, your entire institution is making a commitment that's going to go beyond just the current administration. The average length of a presidential job is 5 years. So, you know, you might have a president who cares about this, another president might come in, may not be as committed. When I was president at Unity, I made sure that our entire board of trustees and our entire campus was committed to sustainability. And by signing the ACUPCC, we essentially had a community commitment to get the job done that was to go well beyond my presidency, but through every corner of campus for years and years to come. Whoever asked the question, you know, you can certainly get in touch with us, and we can provide you with some more details on why it makes the most sense. So we have another question now, which is for President Pollak. How do you respond to questions from students about the value of sustainability education? Part two, are students coming to the community college with a sense of green job opportunities, or are they learning them on the ground? Great question. Kevin?
Thanks. I'll do the second one first, because the newest one, and I can remember that much better. We have a lot of students that are coming with the idea of jobs on the ground. And again, that was why we had to reach out to our corporate partners in the area. In our area, if you just go north of us, there's a lot of farms on the northern edge of where we are. To the south of us, an hour away, is Detroit. So we're in between all of those pieces. A lot of wind turbines, a lot of wind, solar energy, wind energy is happening right now, particularly in the state of Michigan. So we actually were able to put people into jobs and look at what they're doing. It's like a chicken and egg thing. So you've got to build the programs that put those pieces together. Our engineering technology programs really have taken off in the last year or so with the idea of mechatronics, where you're putting hands-on pieces into the students right in front of them, so that they can go out and get those jobs once they're there. Not only do they have the degree, but they can actually show projects that they've worked on. So you're going to have to backfill and give me the first question one more time again, though.
Happy to do it. The first question is, how do you respond to questions from students about the value of sustainability education?
Oh, okay, that's really simple. It's funny, they don't ask that many questions. I mean, not to me. Now, they may to their faculty, and I'm sure they do to others, but, you know, coming to where I am, they don't, when they talk to me, they don't talk about sustainability. They usually want to know, like, why there's not enough parking places. So it's one of those things, though, that I think that there are a lot of committed students, and I think, you know, in today's era, we have a lot of younger students that are very committed to sustainability, and we want to be able to give them that opportunity to be part of a lot of things. It opens up their eyes, and, you know, we're going to take another step in a sort of unique kind of way when you talk about sustainability, and I would imagine that probably in October in our board meeting, we're going to go to a smoke-free, tobacco-free campus. And that's it. To me, it's just another step of cleaning the air and cleaning the environment around us. And that's going to be a big issue for students. To some of them, we have a lot of students that smoke, and it's one of those things, though, that a lot of it's directing them and having them be part of it. So hopefully that kind of answers the question.
By the way, Kevin, that was a huge controversy at Unity College. It was one of the most difficult things I had to deal with, actually, and it really got the students very engaged. The smoking question. Todd, I think I'd like to go back to there. We have some more questions, but I'd like to go back to the second part of that two-part question and get your take on it. Are students coming to to community colleges with a sense of green job opportunities? Are they learning them on the ground? What do you see from your experience with the National Network of Community Colleges, Todd?
Well, you know, and Dr. Pollak, I think, hit this right on the nose. I mean, the one thing that community colleges must do when they build programs in any area, they must show that there's a labor market need for that workforce. And so we've seen a lot of success of those colleges that have done their homework, pulled the right labor market information, saw that, well, wind might not be a big industry in my particular region, but solar is, or building automation is, and then directed and developed programs in that space, and then focused really to build a competitive advantage in that area. So, you know, this is why I think community colleges, the living lab concept, the pedagogy really makes sense for the two-year college, because generally speaking, the community colleges are not just developing sustainability programs for the sake of the development of them, but they're really tying them, okay, I think, to skill needs in their region. And so we've got a lot of great examples, St. Clair one, but a lot of great examples of colleges that have brought in industry early to design, develop programs in the green space, whether it's renewables, energy efficiency, green building, you know, really close ties to the corporate interests there. So happy to share any of that.
Okay. Thank you, Todd. We have a whole bunch of questions coming in now. This is directed for Tom Donovan. Tom, was the Living Lab concept purely from your initiative, or were there other initiators of the idea, either within the campus or from outside the campus?
I guess I can honestly say back in 2003, I was told by my president that was here at the time to think about unique things and how we can transform this campus. And so I thought a lot about it, and actually I started thinking in 2002 about what kind of things could I do that would impact students. And so it was, early on it was, I asked for the meeting. I kind of explained what I wanted to do or what I thought we could do as a team. I especially wanted the corporate sponsorship with Siemens. I knew that we could use their expertise in help in getting things started. So it really just kind of worked out that way, but I was lucky to have faculty that were very interested. They would go out to corporate workplaces and talk with other people about things. They were used to getting out in the field and doing things outside the classroom. And so they were very excited when I said, hey, what do you think about doing something like this? And we could use our facilities. And that's how it all started.
Can I just throw in there too? I don't think, Tom, you didn't mention this, but you actually teach. I mean, you deliver lectures in some of the classes, correct?
I do. On occasion, faculty will call me in, and I'll pull up a screen and explain what we're doing with building automation, for instance. We bring our students over to our what we call a head-end system. That's for our building automation as well across campus. And they really are amazed when they see what we can do from a computer screen. It's amazing. I mentioned to Todd that they've asked me questions on occasion that I would have never thought of before. And it's very rewarding for me. It's kind of keeps me going.
You know, I'd like to follow up with this, and I'm curious, Tom and Kevin. Tom, your efforts preceded Kevin's arrival, and what happened when Kevin arrived? And to what extent, Kevin, did that intrigue you even further about the campus? How did the partnership between the two of you working together further support the efforts?
Well, from my perspective, Dr. Pollak fully embraced everything that we were doing here, and it was early on. We still had not done a few of the projects that you see on the in this webinar, and so I have to thank him for supporting me.
For me, it was pretty simple. It was just I came to a place that I thought already had a great leg up on this whole sustainability piece, and you know, corny as it sounds, I was an Eagle Scout, so there was always a connection with nature. And I thought, well, this is great. I'm going to be able to be part of something that we really can show progress on, not just talk about it. And it's something that community people can see and touch, and it's visible. And those types of things are great for the college and for the students as well. I mean, when you do a lot of intellectual thinking in the classrooms and discussions and things, sometimes that doesn't go out into the community very well. But you know, when you put up some solar panels and a wind turbine, people notice things. And to me, some of that was already here. The green roofs, a couple of them were already on. You know, to me, the green retaining wall was huge. And when you have, like I said, a vice president of finance who steps in and says, I'd like us to work with Tom Donovan, and we have a concept of putting in a geothermal field. Now, it'll cost us several $100,000 more than the original project, but we'll save $50,000 a year over this, and we'll do this and this and this in this building, and it's a great thing for us to do. And you know, when we talked to the board members, we already started that concept of, before I ever got here, of thinking about these things. So it was easy to step in and say, yes, I love this anyways, and we're already there. And it was a great partnership from the first day.
Okay, thank you. I want to say that, first of all, there's an energy there's a sustainability landscape on any campus, and I think you're right to say that having the wind turbines, having solar panels, having the green roofs, everybody who visits a campus is a student, whether they're matriculated or not, and you send an educational message when you do that kind of building. The other point I'd like to make before we go on to the next question is, I do a lot of consulting and speaking at colleges and universities around the country, and when you've got the president, the CFO, and the director of facilities all on the same page, things really move. And it's not always the case. I mean, but obviously that's happening at St. Clair County, and it's a terrific asset. And it is really the most important way to move forward in a system. There are a lot of questions.
I'd just like to add one quick thing, if I could, please. One of the things that we're doing with this, outside of just the physical nature of seeing what's on our campus, is we're expanding this whole concept one more piece to a STEM institute that we've created. So we're talking about science, technology, engineering, and math. And one of the greatest ways to get our younger students, we bring all the 8th graders on campus for a tour, for example, in our whole district. We bring in elementary kids by the busload. And one of the things we do that they love the most is we walk them around the campus and we show them these green things. And they think that is really cool when they see the wind turbine, and they can look up at a panel on a display board that actually shows the wattage of what's happening at that particular moment, what we're saving. And they see the green walls, and they see the other things, and they see the electric car go by. It gets them interested in science. And so there's another benefit that we didn't touch on at all, but it's getting that next generation, before they even come to college, interested in STEM.
Yeah. I can't resist. I've just finished a book called The 9 Elements of a Sustainable Campus, which will be published by the MIT Press in January. The 9 elements are energy, food, materials, governance, investment, wellness, curriculum, interpretation, and aesthetics. And it seems like you're covering all of them. And the interpretation aspect is what you just described. To be able to explain what's happening and why it's happening is a terrific educational advantage and really serves the community well. And along those lines, one of these important elements is food, and we have a question about food, of course it's directed to you, Kevin. And are you considering the quality and nutrition of campus food services as an element of greening the campus? And this also includes sourcing considerations, local and organic, etc. What are you folks doing in that along those lines?
Well, I'm glad you added that question, because I thought you were going to ask me what I had for lunch, and I was really worried about it because it wasn't very good. Actually, it's funny because I don't think we've expanded into that area as much as maybe some people think. We do get a lot of requests, and we're getting more and more for healthier foods, and we've actually changed some of the things out into our area of salad bars and a variety of other things. The difficulty with that, honestly, at a community college is the drive-in mentality of a lot of students. They run in, they grab food, they go out, and the organic pieces and the other parts aren't as important for our students yet. Now, having said that, though, when we talk about the farmers and the crops that are just north of us, we are looking at perhaps working with them in some sort of agricultural types of areas, and maybe moving some things into our campus down the road, but that's probably a little bit further down the road still.
Thank you. And for the person who asked that question, it's a great question, and there really is an important national campus food movement going on. I visit so many campuses, and to see what's happened in the last 5 or 6 years in terms of food growing on campuses, it's inexpensive to do. We did a lot of it at Unity College. I just figured we can just grow as much food as we possibly can. It sends a great message. We gave access to the local food pantry. It got the students involved. And a lot of, I single out Unity because that's where I was, but there are many campuses that are doing the same thing. Todd, a question for you, and I think, Kevin, if you want to add to this, that would be great. This is related to PCC and SEED. If a campus is already a SEED member, then how can the ACUPCC further enhance their efforts, and what synergies can be leveraged by participating in both efforts?
Yeah, great question. I tried to articulate this a little bit in the beginning. A lot of our focus is on greening of the curriculum, academic career, technical curriculum, and then the role that community colleges play in, let's call it, clean economy, economic development. That's a piece of a larger puzzle, and as Mitch has described, what the PCC does through greenhouse gas inventory tools, climate action plans. That is bigger and broader and more advanced, frankly. It takes a lot more effort to engage in that. And so, what I've seen a lot of colleges do is actually use SEED as a way to get their hand on the table, say sustainability is important to my college, let's start to explore these different areas, different potential program areas we're interested in, and let's get our president on board and start to build that momentum. And then the PCC, in my mind, then becomes a next step. I mean, a leap really to go full force in the deep end, put some resources behind it, become accountable, get some data, start collecting data, things like that. And so in some ways, it works nicely, SEED, as a bridge to the PCC. So that's one angle. The other thing I will say, though, is we do have a strong, very strong connection, SEED does, to clean economy, clean workforce development and job training resources, which I don't think the PCC necessarily has. And so we are very connected, and we know the colleges that have had a lot of success in clean energy training programs that are very willing to share their resources, curriculum, things like that. And so that's an area where I think we're happy to help colleges connect to. But there's a whole other world out there, sustainable campuses, operations, things like that PCC are real and second nature experts on.
Yeah, I would also say that every campus has to decide this for themselves, but I work with many of the presidents who are very active with SEED and very active with the PCC and serve on our steering committee. And when they're engaged with both organizations, it really helps them connect what's going on with their campus to the broader community. And it links them to funding opportunities, it links them to corporate sponsorships, it leads them to curricular initiatives, financing mechanisms. So I think there's a great synergy there, and I think that the presidents who have been active with both SEED and ACUPCC would testify to that. We only have about 4 minutes left, so if anyone has I have a list of questions, so I don't need more, but if you have a question that you really want to get in there, now's your chance to do so. I want to go back to a question that was asked a few minutes ago, and that is, I think it's directed to Tom, and it's a living lab question, and the person wonders whether you've developed a how-to checklist for your living lab, and whether you're aware of any. And I'll add to this: are you aware of any such checklists?
I think if you go to the SEED organization and look at the campus as a living laboratory, their guide that they've just published, this will give you all the information that you really need to start a living lab.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, just real quick on that. So it's a teaser. I mean, it's a quick, short document, but actually it should help. That report should help you get at least figure out the right steps you need to take to get the right people engaged and the right programs to address. So that it should really help in that regard, I think.
Okay, and so I think there's probably enough time for one last question, and that is directed, I think, to you, Kevin, and that is what sustainability academic programs do you offer at St. Clair, and do they have sufficient enrollment to be sustainable as programs?
Good question. Yeah, we do. There's numerous ones, and I know I've mentioned a couple, like the mechatronics and alternative energy programs. For example, one of the things that our faculty do is they actually came up with a metrics of their own, a matrix that talks about each program and the viability of each program. Because the alternative energy, and there's 3 levels of that program, were so new. Part of it was the number of graduates, job opportunities. We didn't even worry about the enrollments at the beginning. We wanted to make sure that we got those things up and running and stable. And they are all fine now. They all have healthy enrollments and are doing fine. And again, with the idea of STEM, you're going to see, I think, more of our programs looking into those green alternatives. I know our biology department and chemistry department are huge into that right now as well. And so, yes, I can even see us adding programs as we go down the road. Part of the community college is to determine what the needs of the community are. Now, we're not going to just add programs just because they're also fashionable. We want to make sure that our students can get jobs in them and that they are sustainable, to that sense, viable. So, yes, the ones that we have are doing very well, and I can see us looking at those as we go along and perhaps adding.
Can I just
Thank you.
piggyback on that for a second, which is a lot of, and I know St. Clair's done this, which is it's not always about creating a new sustainability program or even a course, but I think what St. Clair and other colleges have done successfully is weave it into their HVAC, green their HVAC program that's existing, green your construction or design program. I mean, that's I think a lot of colleges had a lot of success in slowly weaving sustainability principles into those existing competitive advantage programs.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Todd. Well, we're just about finished. First, I want to thank the panelists for taking their time to do such a great job. I also want to make sure that I thank the talented and hardworking and committed staff at Second Nature, especially Sarah Brylinski, Axel Tefera, and Gabrielle Baschio, who put all of this together. Thanks so much to you for your great work. Thank you, too, for those of you who participated. I wish we could see all of your faces, but we can't using this webinar technology, but we're with you, and please do get in touch if you have any questions, and please do try to find a way to enjoy summer's last gasp and have a terrific Labor Day weekend. Thanks very much. Please be in touch as necessary.